Hello and welcome to the Granite Spotlight, a short, focused conversational series where I highlight entrepreneurs, coaches, and creators who are building meaningful work and choosing their lives intentionally. I'm Sean Bradbury, life coach, speaker, and founder of Grounded in Granite. Today I am joined by Charles Rocky Drew. Rocky is a business owner, consultant, and family advocate with more than 30 years of experience banking, operations, and project management, along with years of consulting and family education. Together with his wife, Carmen, he founded Multigenerational Living Solutions to help individuals and families navigate the opportunities and challenges of multi-generational living. Drawing from both professional experience and their own family's journey, they help families build stronger relationships, improve communication, and create living arrangements where everyone can thrive. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting both Rocky and Carmen about a year and a half ago in Scottsdale, Arizona, at a mastermind 2-day event. So I've known them for a little while now. So I'm extremely happy to have this conversation. So, Rocky, welcome to the Granite Spotlight.
Well, thank you. And this is a good opportunity. I hope I can give everybody the information that they're looking for.
My friend, you're going to do fine, trust me.
Yeah.
So, Rocky, please share with us a brief version of your story and what led you guys to building what you're building today.
Well, back in 2016, my son was working for an oil firm. They were doing specialized things in the oil field, oil companies, and mostly in the field. And whenever the oil prices went down back then, I guess late 2016, he was laid off, and it really kind of was a chance for him to try something entrepreneurial. And he was a woodworker, and he had made several uh, items that they auctioned off at his. My grandchildren go to a private school, and they were very well received, and people were excited to see them. And it's called a surrender cross. Anyway, he had designed those, and so he thought, well, you know what, I'm just going to start selling those. So they set up a website, and he and his wife, and they he started making these. Well, I am a woodworker at heart, so I started working with him. Just because I was retired, I just would go over to his place, and we would work. Well, this things would have it. The business started growing, and we were actually working out of his garage. His neighbor was constantly complaining about the noise, even though it was not, above the decibel level that was allowed, but it got to be annoying for him. And actually, we were running out of room, and we needed a couple other pieces of equipment. We had no way to fit in to his garage. Well, his wife was looking to my daughter-in-law, that she was thinking about, we need a bigger house or whatever. And Carmen and I were living in a 4-bedroom, 2-story house, or 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, I guess. And well, really it was just 3, but anyway. And we were looking to downsize. So my daughter-in-law, Jackie, and Carmen got together, and they started, I'll say, a vision board where they were figuring out, what would you want in a house? And so they started listing things down and on a napkin, and she calls it the napkin vision board or whatever. But whenever they did that, well, we thought it was a pretty good idea because they wanted to upgrade, we wanted to downgrade. And so they started looking. I'm going to say that was probably summer of 2017. Then by 2018, we had been looking for a place with some land so we could build a workshop. And we wound up finding a 1-story house. It was a 3-bedroom, but it had a huge office area that Carmen and I turned into our bedroom. And, the other bedrooms were at the end of the house, and ours was at, down towards where the kitchen was. But in any case, that worked out fine for us. And the person who owned the house, he had built a detached garage, and he was kind of a machinist or mechanic or whatever you want to call it. And it was a two-car garage, but it was big enough to fit three and a half cars. So, we basically turned that thing into our workshop. I mean, we put a what do you call it, sawdust filtering system into it and everything, and we really enjoyed it. Things were going great, and then 2020 hit, the pandemic, and so business, fell off. And so he started working. He's a CPA and a certified financial analyst. He started working for an accounting firm. And a little while after that, it wasn't very long before, uh, they were looking to do some other things. And his wife was creating all kinds of things. But so anyway, the business, like I said, kind of went by the way. And but one of the things, and I'll talk about it, as we talk about some of the things that we do, we had an exit plan. And it was whenever my grandson got old enough to be an adolescent. I had two boys, and I'd already been through that. So it was kind of our chance then to, we went ahead and we had a, like I said, Carmen had an exit plan. And so we put that into effect, and we moved out, and they're still in the house. And, but that's what we did. And so we had such a wonderful experience. We thought, well, we should, uh, maybe work with other people to pass on what we've learned, and the ups, the downs, and the ahas of our experience. So we started Multi-Generational Living Solutions. And so uh, that's my story.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the backstory. It really fills in a lot of the questions and things like that as to the multi-generational, the journey that you and Carmen are on. So who do you serve and what problems do you help them solve? I know that we kind of touched a little bit about it. Can you go a little deeper into that?
Well, I was what we when we started out, what we do is we help retired individuals clarify their decision to co-own a home with their adult children and grandchildren, or just their adult children, however it may be. And that was, what we're starting. And it's a pretty, I mean, that was just our niche. But then as we started developing this, then I'm going into different groups on Facebook, and I'm seeing all of these people who are having issues with their adult children still living at home that they really don't. And even though, they love their children, they're not going to run them off, but they're just not happy with the way things are going. A lot of the things that we determined in the beginning, that those things that they could use to help as well. So, we kind of have those two different, I'll say two different niches. But a lot of the things, like, the planning, and, letting people for a person who's thinking about living with their adult children, we would go through all of the things that we determined that we needed to focus on, and that was, the financial part of it, and it's like discussing that, and nailing down who's going to pay for what, and who will be responsible for what expenses, privacy, and what that really means, boundaries, how you can actually set boundaries with your relatives without it being, I'm going to say, without, making them angry or hurting their feelings, whatever it may be, as long as they're willing to accept that. And they have boundaries too that they want to implement, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. But and how to have a productive family conversation, because there's always things coming up we experienced. And then, you have a family meeting or a family conversation, and you know certain things like love language. How do you say certain things? How you would say certain things may offend them, but and we always had the when you I feel phrase that we would try to use because we're just saying this is why I feel that way. A lot of things, but there were a lot of advantages to it. And like I say, from the financial side of it, you get to share expenses. Uh, you can keep in mind budgeting. That's a big deal. Both on both sides of that. If you're talking about the other side, I think a lot of times they'll say, well, my son's been here, he's 28 years old and still living with us, but he doesn't pay any of the bills or any of that kind of stuff, and it's hard to get him to do anything around the house. Well, if you had a good, I actually have a what do you call it, spreadsheet, and that if you start plugging in the numbers, it does all these calculations for you, and then their children can actually see, look, this is what we're spending every month. Now if you were paying some of this, I'd have some money to put in savings, you know, or investments or whatever. So, you're ensuring some kind of financial stability and growth. So anyway, that's just one of the things that we touch on. But I think that one thing that I think we did that was probably the smartest thing was to have an exit strategy, and to address what's going to happen in the future because it may be it may be that it doesn't work out for some reason, or it may be because, like for us, it was something that we knew wasn't going to be forever. But, with my son losing his job and going into the entrepreneurial side, one of the things that was important for us to move in with him or made it easier is that rather than you know, giving them the money to help them buy a house because, he didn't have a stable income in the beginning. We just decided that's when Jackie and Carmen said, "Well, let's just buy a house together." So they sold their house, we sold our house, and we bought this house. And I had sticker shock whenever we got it, but it was, it all worked out. So, uh, and we were very, very happy. I mean, we cherished those days. And if we can help other people do that, that's our big, I guess, why is what you would call it. So,
Yeah, I think I really like what you guys are doing because it sounds like you've put a lot of thought into it, covering all the bases between boundaries and communication and everything. And it sounds like there's definitely that failure to launch syndrome for kids, you know, just getting older and for whatever reason they're in their 20s and they're still not paying rent or helping out with the bills or things like that. And that can definitely cause tension between the parents and the kid and everybody else. And it does not lead to a very healthy living arrangement by any means. So I really like everything that you've put together to kind of to handle all of those different areas. Yeah, I like that a lot. So Rocky, what are you currently focused on, you and Carmen, that we should know about? Anything new in the works?
well, no, not anything really new. One of the things that we've done is one of the things that we're starting to do is we're doing more consistent marketing and to let people know what we do. I mean, we've got a pretty good network with our church. I think, people say, "I just can't believe you did that." But I mean, whenever we did that, I mean, we did a lot of praying and we did a lot of things. They're a very spiritual family. We're spiritual, and so it worked out very well for us. I think that was part of the things that it worked out so well. And we have a big church uh, family, and so there's a lot of people who know what we do. Uh, and I'll tell you, when we first started it, it was really kind of funny because people would say, you're really going to do that? Or have you lost your mind? Are you sure? Whatever it may be. But it was a wonderful time. Of course, for Jackie and Rick, you had a built-in babysitters. So, and of course, now that my grandson is already he graduated this year. He's the next one's just, they actually had 3 years in between each one of their children, so they're all 3 years apart. So, but and whenever the littlest one, she would come and get in bed with us and those kinds of things. But as far as things that we're, like I said, doing is trying to do some more advertising. And so we're in the chamber, and now we have we the our title is course creators in the chamber, but I think we're looking to maybe change that just a little bit so that people, it's not just creating courses, it's the course that we created. So, we're course creators, but this is the course because Carmen has a art business as well. She's a professional artist, and so we have that going as well. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I mean, if people are interested, we have a website, obviously, and it's part of the mastermind group. If you mastermind, I guess, what do you call it? Their software, but it's Multigen Living Solutions.com.
Right, Rocky, this has been a really great conversation. I just want to thank you for your time today.
No, thank you. So look forward to seeing you the next time.
Sounds good, my friend.
You never know.
No, you never do you?
It's a small world.
It's very
Sometimes.
small.
All right.
So if this
Later.
conversation resonated with you, please feel free to reach out to Rocky or myself. And you can also leave a comment or question below. As always, thank you for joining us today. A life you want to build is just one choice at a time. Take care.